So hello my brothers and sisters. I wanted to make a video for people who are not on the dragon's path. People who are very unfamiliar with the dragon's path. And I wanted to make a video like this because I had a lot of judgmental comments yesterday, and I wanted to make something clear about this because a lot of people just don't know about the dragon's path, and I cannot blame you because you never heard about it. The day before I was awakened by the dragon, I didn't never heard of that either. I mean, I cannot blame you actually that you are like this. Humans are judgmental. They always have their ideas about something, even though they don't know about this, something about anything. That is typically how humans are. So the dragon's path, I just wanted to say, is a bit like, it's a spirituality. That is not a religion, that is not a cult. It's not something that I want to recruit you into this because I have nothing to gain with this. The only thing that I wanted to do is to be by the people's side who have this, because once you are awakened, it's going to be very confusing and it's going to be very difficult. The dragon's path is a difficult journey, so that is the reason why I wanted to talk about this. The dragon is not easy actually to follow, but you follow them anyway because you love them. You love them and you are connected to them. You have a bond with the dragon, and the reason for that is, and that is why people are also very judgmental about this, is because you are a spiritual dragon yourself. You have energy of the dragon, you feel like dragon. Of course, that is not something that people like ourselves can say. It's not because I want to escape in a fantasy reality. It's because I felt this. It's because I always feel this. And the day before I felt this, I never even thought about the dragon. So it came by itself. It came unsuspectedly. It came by one day to another. It was on my birthday in 2005. And then I was awakened. The dragon's path is a spirituality that can be considered as where the dragon is. And that is why I want to say this to you. It's not a religion. I wanted to make this clear. It's not a religion. But we see the dragon as maybe equal as people, as Christians see Christ or Jesus or whatever, but even to a level further. And people are always, and that is why it's so strange that people are so very judgmental about this, because the people who are holding Jesus so dear, and so even though you cannot prove that Jesus ever existed or whatever is, but everyone is fine with this. Everyone is fine with Jesus and Muhammad and whatever, because those are people, those are humans. Humans follow humans, of course. And whenever I say this, actually the dragon came to me and touched my spirit, touched my soul, then people lose their minds. People is like, oh, that is a dragon, you want to be in a fantasy or reality. Well, actually no, because I was actually pushing the dragon away because of I knew what kind of a judgmental things that I was going to hear. I knew how difficult it was going to be once I was accepting the dragon. And it was not like that I that I could go somewhere with of course later on I had this, but on the moment I couldn't go anywhere with these feelings, these my entire world was upside down. I didn't know what was going on. The only thing that I could see was the dragon, and the dragon that was always pushing me, always knocking on my door, you could say, always waiting for me to open it. And that is eventually what I did. And my world was upside down, but I never would return. I mean, the dragon's path is not a choice that you make, you accept it. It's something that you accept, and that is eventually what I did. But of course, I was not going on the streets and say, I'm a dragon and I'm surrounded by dragons and I worship dragon gods. Was not like that. So, for years later, I was stuttering against my sister, saying, actually, I actually believe in dragons. And she was actually very supportive, and that was my cue. Actually, maybe I could say this to other people, and eventually I did so, and I came to discover that people who are triggered on the dragon's path is actually helping dragons with this. Of course, I'm not going to say to you or to people who are not on the dragon's path, I'm a dragon. Of course not. I'm a human being. I'm just a human being like you, but I am a follower of the dragon, and I'm not hiding it anymore. And even at my job, people who are, I'm filled with imagery of the dragon, rings and like everywhere. The dragon is everywhere on me. So of course people are going to ask questions, and a lot of people say how interesting, but a lot of people are also going to say, yeah, you're crazy, you're nuts, and you're foolish, and yeah, because people are always going to be like this. You're going to be judged, and that is also the reason why sometimes it's better to be quiet, but sometimes it's also good to speak about this, because I seen how people on the Dragon's Path do it wrong, and that is, maybe I'm judgmental right now, but I shouldn't say that anyone is wrong on the Dragon's Path, but saying, for example, going on the streets and and make some kind of a role play game how you are a dragon and things like this, people are not going to take that serious. And that is also on in religious things, you don't see, for example, that you are role playing with Jesus. You are not role playing with Muhammad or whatever. You take them very respectful, and that is eventually also what I do. I do try to treat the dragons respectfully, and that is also, I'm not playing around with this. I'm not toying with this. This is not a fantasy play. This is not something that I decided to do. This is something that I accepted to do. This is something that comes to us. It's a phenomena. It's a very strange phenomena, and a lot of paranormal activity went my way once I was accepting the dragon. I eventually came to find out this was magic. Magic is another word for manipulation, because our gods, the dragon gods, are actually the embodiments of the elemental energies: water, earth, fire, and air. And those are inside of a body. That is what dragon gods are. And these are not just any made-up gods. These are gods who are actually worshipped many thousands of years ago by early humanity. In fact, before all of these religions came, the dragon gods were the one actually being worshipped. For example, Tiamat, my first dragon goddess that I felt so well, is the earth and water all together, and she is very much worshipped in Mesopotamia back in the day, in the regions of Iraq, in Babylonia. And she was very much worshipped, the deity, as the mother of all dragons and serpents. And that is also what I worship. That is what we worship. It's not because a lot of humanity is forgotten about this, because of all of these religions try to demonize it or fantasize it. It's not because all of these books, novels, fantasy tales, movies and games and whatever is filled with dragons that they're supposed to also be considered as fantasy. They are not fantasy for us. And the only thing that I actually ask for people who are not believing in dragons, and they're full right, because that means that they are not supposed to be by the dragon side, is respect. The only thing that I ask from people who are not on the dragon's path is respect. We believe in something, and you believe in something, and we don't judge you, and you shouldn't judge us. There was someone in my job, and I don't know if he actually realizes how hurtful it is, actually always saying I'm a vegan because of my dragon's path. And that is also what he says: once I'm going to see your dragon, I'm going to eat him because he's just a stupid animal. And that is painful. I don't know how he actually how he realizes how painful that is once you hear it all the time. And I want him to stop, but he always continues by saying, I'm going to kill your dragon and I'm going to eat it in front of your face. That is just hateful. That is just hateful. I never did something against him, but if you are, for example, on the dragon's path and you are a vegan, you are going to be judged. I can guarantee you. Even though I don't know why. It's just, I can say why, of course, that they never heard about this, but that they have to be so mean, so nasty. That is something that I don't understand. You should not be nasty for this, just because you don't understand it. And that is eventually what dragons are. Dragons are beings that are not understood. Beings that people don't see anymore. Of course, they are not here in the physical realm, but you know how dragons look like. dragons. Do you know how dragons images are? Everywhere around the world, dragons were drawn, and dragons were seen a bit like everywhere in the world. And that is what people really worshipped dragons back in the day. In fact, we are pagans. We are reviving a spirituality. We are reviving ancient religions. And I call myself a dragon witch because I perform what I believe, you don't have to believe this, but I believe is magic and manipulation inside of nature. Worship nature, it's a nature of spirituality. And all of this, magic is actually another word for manipulation. You call it whatever you want, but I see it as opening gates that's supposed to remain closed. You have a lot of energy and power, but we are not trying to recruit you inside of this dragon's path. Not at all. Like I said, we are not a religion. We are not trying to put you on the dragon's path. But the only thing that I want to ask from people who are not on the dragon's path is respect. Respect for our spirituality. Respect for what we believe. Respect for you shouldn't have respect if you don't want this. I'm not the one who's supposed to take everything 100% serious. Sometimes I can laugh with things. Sometimes I can ridicule things. You don't have to. If there is no humor inside of a spirituality, it's going to be very scary, and that is also not what I want from the Dragon's Path. But to take that we are taking it also serious, just like people who are very religious, is actually an understatement. And people who don't take it serious and just ridicule it or maybe role play with this or whatever, these are the people who are supposed to understand, what the Dragon's Path is. The Dragon's Path is simply an ancient spirituality that revives itself in worshipping dragons. And we feel the dragons within ourselves. We feel the dragons surrounding us. In fact, I call this the dragon eye, our circle. We are surrounded by dragons, and you are a dragon spirit yourself. If you are on the dragon's path. And of course, here in this world, I'm not going to say, I'm a dragon. I'm not going to say that. I'm just a human being like everyone else. But in my spare time and everywhere I go, I have the dragon on my mind. And the dragon, it means so much for us. The only thing that I ask from this is just to understand it and to have respect. Not to say that you have to go to an insane asylum, or that you are going to eat our dragons, or whatever, that you are going to eat me. In fact, that is what I'm seeing if the dragon would return in flesh and blood. The reason why I'm a vegan is because I don't want to stand on the side of dragon slayers. I want to stand on the side of the dragon. The dragon teach me to be a vegan. I'm very convinced that the dragon teach me to be a vegan. And everyone has their own path actually to follow. And this is eventually what we do, our path. We follow our own path inside of the circle of the dragons that are surrounding us. We feel this very well. I'm not asking you to believe all of this. You can have your ideas about this. I mean, a lot of people actually have 90% of the people actually judge this spiritual path because they are not familiar with this. I cannot blame them because they never heard of it. That is how humans are. Humans are judgmental. That is what they are. Sometimes I judge religions as well, but I keep it for myself. I don't want to hurt anyone, and that is actually the only thing that I'm asking from you people who are not on the Dragon's Path. That is the only thing. Respect for our spirituality.